Arinoth, and I'm playing Roderick Kane.
I am Legacy, and I will be playing Loretta.
I'm Luca, and I'm playing Frederick Perler.
I'm Tink, and I'm playing Helena McLeod.
I am Vironz, and I am playing Sister Rosalie.
I'm Solomon, and I will be the librarian. When last we left off, the investigators, the researchers, and the lucky survivor had found themselves pulled into the Mansus, specifically into the wood surrounding the depths of the Mansus. They found themselves within the snow that seems to cover that place at all times, and wondering why it was not as cold as it should be. After a bit of investigation, they found themselves speaking to an individual known as the Baldemarian, a, for lack of a better term, god of knowledge and unkindness that had ascended from mortalhood years ago. They learned that the Mansus was being infected by an entity from a place called Nowhere. One that wished to turn all of the Mansus and all of reality itself into just more of itself, akin to a cancer. After awaking with this revelation, they sat down to speak to the librarian and discuss what they should be doing. Having found out that there was a text the Hush House was protecting, Loretta and Roderick decided to stay behind and assist the librarian in getting this text and deciphering it, given that it was in an ancient earthen language. While Mr. Perler, Miss McLeod, and Sister Rosalie all decided to head to the beach in the hopes that whatever they would be looking for had washed up, as they had been told that the beach and the moors were great places to find things that were required, that the Hush House itself worked to bring things that would be of use to those within its walls. As such, we will begin in the somewhat foggy, misty afternoon. The sunlight still manages to pierce through the fog and the clouds, but it is lost its luster. It is dull and almost gray in how it falls upon Mr. Perler, Miss McLeod, and Sister Rosalie as they head down to the beach, past the pier where the ship that brought them in slowly bobs along the waves. The air is cool, and the sea mist is rather intense, given how close you are. But it is calm, but not comforting.
Okay, so it's sort of gray, foggy afternoon for the British Isles, which is, I think, very in character for Britain.
Indeed.
So we've sort of come off a like grassy hill descent onto the sand, is that right?
Correct. The grassy hill descent that has a few wooden steps to sort of make one's way down without having to worry about falling as well.
Sure. Okay. Just looking out at the beach, are there any notable facets or traits? Anything scattered around, or is it really just sand and like rocks and grass, just regular old beach stuff?
There's a lot of the regular beach stuff, but there's also driftwood. There are sand dollars and shells that are very easy to see. And you can also see that there are a few seagulls that seem to be making nests along the cliffs, but also seem to be coming down to almost like dig a little bit and explore with their beaks into the sand closer to the surf.
Okay. just recently, Miss McLeod's character, she came on a crashed ship. Have any of the pieces of ship came upon the shore now in the interim?
I would
Read my
like-
mind.
I would like everyone who is going to be searching for pieces of ship to go ahead and give me a roll of, let's call it intelligence.
Okay, give me a second. So,
Or if you have a different skill that you think would fit better, I'm open. I'm all open ears to it.
I always want to say skullduggery because, like with all RPG games that include some general criminal skill, there's a way to make it justifiably related to anything.
I will allow it. It will
no,
be
oh
at
my
a-
god, I'm not being serious. That was totally me fucking with you.
I was going to say, I'll
do-
allow it at 3 disadvantages.
I believe that is a flaw of many RPG game developments where, like, you know, the dexterity stat is like applicable to fucking everything.
Everything,
or,
yeah.
You know,
I
right.
understand
And, yeah. Hold on a minute. I'm sorry, I'm clueless. Where is the roles channel?
That would be the bot channel.
Oh, the bot channel. Thank you. Okay, excuse me.
Helena's low-key looking for her luggage.
Okay, so are we looking for like a physical object, or is this like, were we given like any vague description?
The description of the thing that you were looking for, you know that the thing you're looking for in the moors is akin to a tablet that would possibly have a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more power within it, but it would be defended by something. And you know that the whatever you're looking for at the beach, it has to do with, as it's called, the histories. Some item that could have connection to how the histories intersect or connect to one another.
Okay. I was curious because I'm looking through like my like practical skills. We're like, could like horticulture come in? No. So I'm just gonna be rolling my intelligence.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, okay. We both got two different. Okay, so I rolled a 33, and my intelligence is 30. So I think this is not only a failure, but it might be a critical failure as well, which is really pretty brutal.
Oh, I
That
didn't
is
do
correct.
it right.
So I'm sure I'll find some horrible, grim thing on the beach.
You could always use one of our dice on one of the cards.
I could. That's gonna be hard though. So let's double check. References and announcements. Are there any
Oh,
beach
Jesus.
themed characters?
I get 83.
The vagabond seems to be wandering through some kind of desert area. Does that constitute a vaguely sand-related thing?
Given the sand that is coarse and rough and gets everywhere, I will allow it.
I see. So let's see what 1d4.
Aren't you also a bit of a vagabond yourself?
Huh? The character?
Yep.
I don't know. I guess I never really thought of using the tarot like that as relating to the favor that.
We'll take it.
Sure. We're just gonna roll
Either
a
way.
sure. It's gonna be a big sure.
The vagabond has a d4, 3d12, and a d20 on it.
I am going to re-roll the 30s place with the d4. So there's a 50% chance that that's a 1 or a 2, and thereby allowing my roll to succeed. Hold on a minute. Ooh, all right.
Whoa.
That makes my total come out to 13, and I am the best searcher of the beach ever, I think.
You find Helena's matched luggage. I'm kidding.
I got 47 with my intelligence of 70.
Okay.
I didn't see anything.
We'll start with the highest and go to the lower rolls. So, Helena.
Yep.
You are looking for some odd, intricate occult bauble. This is not really your sort of thing. This is far outside of your general scope of knowledge. You know a little bit because of what your grandmother had taught you while running the bookshop. But to sort of put it into practice is completely different than just reading a couple books on it. However, you do, as you're walking along, you do trip and fall as your foot got caught in what looks to be the handle of something buried.
Oh. Ow.
It looks like a very familiar handle.
How familiar?
Like you were holding it as you were coming onto the ship that unfortunately is no more.
Oh.
You don't find the occult object. You do find your luggage, though.
Okay, she's gonna, I mean, dust herself off, and then once she realizes what she's looking at, it's like, she's gonna try and, extricate that. Like, that's odd luck.
Fair enough.
just focus on burying that.
Sister Rosalie, you are searching. You know a bit more about what to do, what to sort of look for, given your training with the Church of the Unconquered Sun. You are looking for anything that could be of use when your eyes stumble on something unique, something wildly curious to you. It is the shining golden handle of what looks to be a mirror.
Could I roll Bright Arts to know what it is?
You absolutely could.
I would like to do so.
Excellent.
I am actually going to use one of the dice that we have on the cards. Let me see which one I think would fit best. You said it's golden?
It is very vibrantly, brightly golden. Or at least something glinting from it is.
The Flower Maker card is quite golden right now, like with all the art style.
I think the Flower Maker is also a lantern god, or hour,
Yeah. I am going to use one of the D4 on that. And definitely get a better roll. So I have 46 out of 85. Or for my Bright Arts of 85, I should say.
So, you pull the sand away, and you bring up a mirror. It is a hand mirror, but it's a hand mirror that when you look into the glass, you see shifting, wild nature across. You see the starry night sky that quickly shifts into a bright day, to clouds, to the view of a alpine forest almost. And you know what you're looking at as you look at it. It is a mirror known as the Wildering mirror. It is a very powerful tool used in various rites associated with the Unconquered Sun and the Sun in Rags. It is one that is so powerful, it is used to ascend to the highest levels of the Mansus, aside from going into the glory itself. It is an incredibly powerful relic for you to find, especially.
It sounds like something might have just cut out there.
No, I think we just lost our storyteller.
Oh no.
Oh no, we lost.
All right, all in favor of me being the new storyteller.
I died. The power of the Wildering mirror was too great.
I was writing down what you were saying, and then you got out.
and then Discord is just like, nah. Sorry. Where did I cut?
You were talking about how it can help you reach into the higher levels of the Mansus.
Yep.
Except for the glory.
Yeah, because that's like the area above it. That's like heaven itself. Equivalent.
So, except for glory. That's kind of really where you cut out.
I was just continuing on saying it is a very powerful relic that has been associated with, in ways, with your people, if only just because they would find these mirrors and utilize them as tools for the various rites that you complete. It is a ritual tool that is of great power associated with the lantern itself.
Okay.
You have been told by your readings that it has been described as a multiplicity of vistas, a bewilderment of views, and then written in the notes by one of the priests who had gone mad from watching into it too long, said, "Gaze upon me and rejoice in the dissolution of your senses."
Okay. I will kind of tuck that into my robes, and kind of keep looking through for other things that might actually be the tablet.
Okay. Mr. Perler,
Yes.
you sense something that almost like calls out to you. Something cold. A kind of cold that you felt back when you were dreaming. It's calming to you, but you know that it would be biting to others.
Okay.
And you know where it is coming from. It is coming from a little further off, buried a bit deeper.
Okay. So Frederick has stripped his Oxfords off his feet and his socks, and he's got them in one hand as he walks across the beach further into the mists. And the background noise from his companions kind of fades away into the crashing of the waves until he arrives at some undisturbed sand further away, and there's an item hidden in there some way.
You sense something that you would probably have to dig down to get.
Okay. Digging it is, right? It's soft sand, so I guess he's probably just going to go at it with his hands for now.
Give me a roll of your physique, if you would, please.
Physique? Okay, hold on 1 minute. To bot channel. Hold on, what? Okay, 47. I believe my physique is 70. Let me just double check that really quick. Yeah, physique is 70 and I've rolled a 47.
All right. You dig, and Miss McLeod and Sister Rosalie can see that you, while to you it seems calm, to them it almost seems fevered. Like something has caught your eye and you've become akin to a dog digging for something that it smells underground. It's
That's
wild
normal, buddy.
and powerful. Sorry.
I said that's normal for Freddy. That's in character.
It is a wild and powerful draw that has you just clawing at the depths of the softer earth underneath you. And you pull away just huge handfuls of sand, just tossing it away, and you see short brown hair atop a face of a man who looks like he died in sheer abject terror. And I would like you to please go ahead and roll me determination, because you are looking at the face of the librarian in Rictus.
Oh, okay, that's normal. Okay, so 22. Let me double check my determination. Yeah, and I have a determination of 40, so I've been more scared, perhaps.
Perhaps. But this still doesn't exactly sit right with you. It's something weird.
Oh, it is a critical, though, isn't it?
It is critical. So it's you're fine. You don't feel anything off, aside from just being like, wait a minute. I was just talking to this guy.
So Fred looks down at this sort of sinkhole that's collapsing in on itself a little bit, you know, the way sand does when you dig pits in the sand.
Yep.
And slowly swallowing this man back up down to his glasses. Are his glasses still with him or on his face, or have they separated out? Or
they are still there. The glass on them is cracked.
I'm going to collect his spectacles. And is there like a rock or something that I can mark this spot with so I can return to it again?
There is, yes.
Okay. I'm going to politely cover his corpse for right now, and I'm going to put the rock or like a wooden cross over him or anything, right? Anything that I can use to mark his body with beach debris.
Very well.
Freddy collects his shoes, and he looks back at the disturbed sand and the marker, and thinks about the pale color of the man's, what's the term I'm looking for? Waterlogged? Yeah, waterlogged skin, I don't know.
It was in fact waterlogged, yes.
And Freddy will turn back to speak to the others and show them the spectacles.
Can I ask to make another bright arts roll to determine if they're a cult?
Yep.
Uh, 5.
Well, with a 5, out of, what was it, 70?
85.
Okay. With a 5, you can tell that this is not just a cult in nature. The very nature of this blip in how the histories have intertwined and interacted. This is incredibly powerful. This is a sure sign that the histories, as they are separate, parallel, and sometimes intertwined, exist. It is a sign that something has happened to cause another history to intertwine with this one, albeit likely briefly. There is great power here. It is akin to a key, whereas the mirror itself is a tool. This would be a key, a focus to cause something to change, or to be the focus of some greater rite, some grand ritual.
Sister Rosie is going to say. I don't suppose you happen to know what you're holding, do you?
I'm holding the last evidence the dead man was alive at all.
Dead.
I'm gonna look over at Tink. Sorry, McLeod. Helena. And I'm gonna look back at Sister Rosalie, and I'm gonna kind of gauge what their I don't know the word is here. What their like familiarity with death is, right?
If you just told Helena that there's a dead person there, she's probably like white as a sheet.
Okay, and what about Sister Rosalie? Upon the implication that somebody's passed.
Slightly mourning, but isn't overly phased. She has been a nurse, so that's kind of why.
Okay. Something out there on the beach. What do I say? He looks down at his toes in the sand and looks back up and says, "It drew me to de facto grave of what is apparently the librarian who I just saw this morning. The corpse has apparently been there longer than just for today. It
I don't suppose it was skeletal, was it?
Oh, no, not quite. Frederick rubs his chin. Is this the... I think without necessarily making any kind of roll, if Fred has seen corpses before with any regularity, he would know the difference between somebody who's been there for like a few days versus somebody who was just planted in the sand.
Yeah, it looked like this corpse has been there for a while.
It's a macabre sight, but it's apparent to me that he's been there for several days at least.
Should we tell someone?
I'll inform the librarian. I believe he's the religious leader of this area, and they're often the ones who deal with such unfortunate cases as this.
Oh.
Do you mind
Right.
if I take those classes, though?
Just out of character, did you mean to say the librarian?
Yes, I believe so. He is also part of the Church of the Unconquered Sun. Right?
Did I not? Did I not? Did my character not declare that the corpse he found was the librarian?
No. Wait, yes?
Oh, okay, all right. So, I guess.
Wait.
Out of
You said
character.
a name.
Hold on.
No, he said the corpse of the librarian, who we just talked to earlier.
My brain heard a name.
Right, and so
Ugh.
he's gonna like look
Wait,
at
what about
Sister
Arlo?
Rosalie, like
Hold on.
inform the dead librarian that the librarian is dead.
Wait.
No. Sorry, the one in the hush house. The person in the hush house. I believe that they are the local religious leader. Thank you for the correction.
Yep.
There's also the rector. What's his name? Timothy.
Yes, Rector Timothy, who sees to a smaller but more like actual church as opposed to having to go through an entire library to get to a grander cathedral.
But there is more religious authority with the hush house caretaker than the rector.
Given how apparently how much money has gone into it, given the beautiful stained glass windows and such, it's safe to say, and the number of shrines they have in there that are larger and more grandiose.
All right. Yes, we should inform the caretaker of the hush house. They do have a bit more authority than the rector.
Right. And how exactly do you hope to break to the librarian that we've
Found his own corpse.
Yes.
That makes no sense at all.
I suppose we're assuming that the librarian is still alive, which it seems he'd have to be if that corpse has been there for too long. It makes me wonder if it's a twin brother or something. As absurd as that would be.
I'm not overly concerned. As long as we can inform the caretaker, I believe everything should be fine.
But what if that is? Oh. It's all very confusing.
It is. It is
We
very
need to
confusing.
tell someone. We can't just leave him there.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to tell
Yes.
the caretaker about the caretaker's corpse. Well, we're
Is it-
losing time in the day anyways. I mean, we might as well now.
Sister, Sister Rosalie does wander over to where the corpse is. Does it look like the same body as the caretaker?
If you pull the sand away that had sort of like collapsed back in on itself from the hole that was made, it looks exactly like the caretaker, like the librarian. Just without his glasses, because now, Mr. Hurley took them.
I am just gonna kind of fill some of it back in, but do leave some out on the sides to create a divot. That way we do know where to somehow get the caretaker to take care of his corpse. Which is so very strange. Self now. Yes, we should inform the caretaker about his own corpse.
Well, there's no time like the present to explain that sort of thing, so I think we should be on our way.
Oh,
Yes.
The others are going to look at us so strange.
Well, this doesn't have to be a conversation with them. I'm sure we can have a moment with the caretaker alone if he's still around. I mean,
and
Do you mind if I take the glasses, though?
of course. And Fred will hand off the glasses to Sister Rosalie.
do we do if he's not still around?
We then inform the rector next, which is very strange.
Uh-huh. Here, I thought the strangest thing was that I found my luggage.
Oh,
Your
you
luggage
found your
seems to be
luggage.
soaked.
That's so good.
I
Your luggage
tripped
seems to be
over
soaked
it.
through, by the way.
It's fine. She'll still take it. I mean, she's probably gonna have a hard time lifting it, but she's gonna try. I tripped over it. Yep, that's her story. It seems a little odd to be just. In any case,
As a lot of them head back up to the library to speak to the caretaker, do you want to see the scene with Legacy and Arinoth's characters and what they're up to?
I was actually going to take us over there.
Sweet.
Cutting away from the beach as the trio begins to leave the corpse of the man they'd been speaking to just earlier today behind. Cut back to the hush house in a rather warm and inviting study where the librarian has been working to teach at least the fundamentals of the language known as crack track to both Loretta and Roderick. It's odd because crack track is a language that almost seems to be a mix of sound and the way that stone splits apart as opposed to actual letters. So I would like both of you to please go ahead and roll me intelligence.
Okay.
All right. She took a minute to actually load up. You said you wanted both of us to roll intelligence?
Please.
I got a 15 out of 80.
Very nice.
All right, let's see if it's another 90 night for me. Hey, 51 out of 65.
Very nice. Roderick, this language is, again, very, very odd because you're used to having sounds almost associated with letters or words, something easier to latch onto, to connect to. And it's just wild to think that there is a language based upon how stones and earth split. But it's there. Loretta, on the other hand, you are more used to the more odd occult languages, the ways that messages are conveyed in perhaps more exclusive inner circles. So you pick up on this fairly easy. It is old and it is odd, but it is not impossible for you at all. It's much more, you're much more capable because you're more used to this sort of thing.
Right.
And the librarian smiles warmly to both of you. Thank you both again for staying with me and assisting me with this. I don't know how easy it will be for us to come together and complete what needs to be done, but I am glad at the very least to have you both here with me to do so.
Well, honestly, I should be thanking you. You're allowing me to kind of get out some curiosities that I've had about the world. So,
And Roderick will just push his glasses up his nose a little bit since, hanging your head down reading a book with glasses isn't exactly stable for them. And no, but if anything, we should be thanking you. You're letting us do this.
Well, it is my duty as a librarian to ensure that those who come seeking knowledge and, in their own ways, power, are capable of doing so.
well, fortunately for you gentlemen, this is directly in my element. But what about these carvings on our hands? Will we need to get them cleaned up, or will they eventually settle?
They will definitely settle. Do not worry about them. The mark of the right that we committed, is temporary. It will fade, and if it doesn't, just come to me. I have various tinctures and such that can be used to aid in the process of recovery.
Very well. Well, hopefully they take care of themselves. I mean, is there anything else that we could do today to kind of ease the load?
Yes. There is something. Mr. Roderick. Would you be willing to run down to the pantry and grab us a bit of the lapsang tea that I have stored there? I think that if we're going to be working to begin deciphering this, it will take a while, and tea would be helpful.
Sure.
Thank you. And when does Roderick head out to grab it?
Yeah.
Okay. And when he does, the librarian looks to Loretta and smiles as he reclines in his chair a little bit. You remind me of her, you know.
I'm sorry.
The Baldemarian. You remind me of her. The wit, the hunger for more, the ambition. But you are distinctly different. You have a tighter grasp on what you want. But I sense that you might feel less inclined about what you might get rid of to get it.
There are not many women in this world who have the ambition to go and take what they want. And those who do are often called crazy or bitchy. I've given up a lot in my life, not willingly, some willingly, but not all of it, in order to obtain what I need in the greater scheme of things. For this, to get what I want, being here is my sacrifice. I had to give up a comfortable lifestyle. Very comfortable lifestyle. And be on a boat, going to a place I didn't really know exists until I was enlightened to the name of the town. I am willing to give up quite a bit for what I want, Mr. Librarian. Not many people, let alone women, are. Everybody lives a life of comfort. Nobody wants to have a hunger. They want to be sedated without trying. And I ain't that type of girl. If there's hunger and there's a need, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I love learning. It's the best thing I think I've ever allowed myself to do is learn and read and go to college and engross myself in things that my mama and the women before her were never allowed to experience. So yeah, I've got some hunger. I'm a woman of the future, as my daddy said.
I just wonder what future you'll have once this is all said and done. If your hunger will be for the same thing.
Isn't that the fun part about the future? There's only a small handful of things that really know. And the rest of us who live and breathe, we just gotta wait for it to come.
Fair enough.
and keeps me going every day. You can't allow yourself to get stale.
I've done all I can to do so. And
What are
it
you
is
hungry for?
one more time.
What are you hungry for?
Before he answers, Roderick comes back in with the tea. Mr. Roderick, thank you for the tea. I'll go ahead and set to brewing it. If you would like to begin looking at the text, you may. If you think that perhaps you might need to look at something else and begin to cross-reference, feel free to do so.
Of course. And no, set it down and go about looking.
For whoever wishes to begin reading through the text, I will need a roll. I'll actually need 2 rolls. First, I'll need a roll of intelligence, and then I'll need a roll of bright arts or night arts. Both of them, unfortunately, will be at a disadvantage, so they'll be at -10.
Can do.
So you said intelligence first?
Intelligence first, yes.
Oof. Actually, I'll use one of the
Alright.
dice to get that lowered. What?
I rolled a 47 out of 80 for my intelligence.
Excellent.
And then my night arts will go next.
What card would apply here for seeking knowledge?
So I rolled a 22. So that's a 32 out of 85.
Well, no, it would be a 22 out of 75. Because
right.
the disadvantage affects the skill you're rolling, not the actual roll itself.
Right. Okay, but I critically succeeded.
You sure did, Arinoth. If you'd like to go ahead and utilize any of the tarot, you may. Knowledge could be most of them. The vagabond tends to wander in search of learning more things. The elegiast works to prevent anything from being lost, including knowledge.
Yeah, I'll use one of the D12s to change the 10's place and hopefully roll for the vagabond.
Alrighty, a D12.
Sweet. That turns it into a 19.
Fantastic.
That'll be a
And
success on the intelligence, and then night arts. Nope, nothing on night arts.
Alrighty. So you begin to work through this. Tome is an odd word for it. It is almost more like a mass of roots and roughly hewn papery substance, almost closer to papyrus. Shiny with age, but still almost seems tough. And the inside, the marks look almost like spidery in the way that they were made. And they almost look to be marked with shards of what looks to be eggshells. This is a odd tome, but not one, perhaps not the oddest some of you have seen. The writing is all interlaced, and it's just not really something that Roderick is able to wrap his mind around. It's just trying to see how different marks can interact with one another, as opposed to seeing how just words form. It's almost like trying to see kanji for the first time. How small little changes can make something mean something completely different. Make a character completely different.
Mhm.
Loretta, however, is able to easily read through it. And you don't just begin to read it. Roderick looks and Loretta is just working through the pages, just almost like a woman possessed. The book seems to almost tell about loopholes, about the ways that things can be done differently, working within the rules or bending them. And these are just the rules of the histories of your parallel realities. That there are rules set in place by powers that favor imperfection and impermanence, but there are ways to work around this, including ways to keep something out that is trying to work in, as well as ways to let that same thing begin making its presence known where it shouldn't be.
Well, I think we found a start, at least. Roderick, come here. Have you ever wanted to get out of something that you might have been bound to by contract or by means of employment? And so you kind of look for a way to kind of break through and get around it.
Sort of. Yeah.
That's kind of what's happening here. Whatever is seeping in and getting through somehow found a loophole, kind of. Found a way in which it could break through into. Would you say that it kind of like broke through into the Mansus, or like would I be able to kind of like piece together maybe how it did this?
Yes.
Okay.
You are able to tell that what it's done is not only has it worked to find its way into the Mansus,
Mm-hmm.
likely with help. Because someone or something likely found a way to open the particular way into where it should be. It's called the door to nowhere. It's one that stays closed and stays shut. But the key to it is protected.
Mm-hmm.
But this key is also what's used to open it and allow anything from nowhere or anyone who has worked to get into nowhere out and back into the Mansus or into the real world.
Okay.
So you know for sure that there are loopholes that things can't get out of nowhere without help, but they can work to convince others to help them get out of nowhere from within nowhere.
So it looks like our little crown growth friend managed to find someone to open up a door that shouldn't have been opened, and therefore it's making its way through. It, whatever it is, had a friend. And a powerful friend at that.
We've definitely made more headway than I have.
What have you found so far?
I've kind of got lost in it, really. And he'll point out, he'll bring over the books and just point out the things that he's noticed.
The few things that you were able to put together were images of the sea, of almost the ocean giving birth to something akin to the painting of the birth of Aphrodite, and you see references to something called the Witch Lover or the Meniscate Sister, which both of you know are referencing to 2 hours: the Sister and Witch, and the Witch and Sister.
And how to say, these are the things that I feel are relevant from what I've been able to find so far.
And she's gonna note down those 2 hours in her journal. And she's been, you can take when Roderick like takes another look at Loretta, anything and everything that she finds of interest or might find that might point them in the right direction, she's written in this like old, kind of worn down like leather bound journal, and getting another piece of information, she kind of gets that possessed blank faced look again, like nothing else in this room is important, just being able to take down these notes. And once she does, she'll close the book and kind of tie it back up. Well, I think I've gotten everything that I could get out of this book and that book. Now it's all just finding out what has the key or who has the key. Because once we find that entity, that'll get us one step closer to being able to close those doors, push back, keep things safe. And then she'll like open up her journal again and start kind of like perusing through her notes. Question is, what could it possibly be? What is so strong that it is able to break through locks that aren't supposed to be broken through? What is messing with them?
It is around this time that the others manage to make their way back from the beach and are let into the hush house by the librarian, who has a cup of tea in his hand. Oh. Would you like to rejoin the others, or do you all need a moment to recover from your trip to the beach?
Thank goodness you're all right.
Well, why wouldn't I be?
She'll look to the other two. It's a bit hard to explain. I didn't actually see, but she'll stop talking.
I'll probably glance over at Sister Rosalie on account of her holding the glasses. I think she was really jonesing to make the explanation here, so.
Yeah. We're in front of the caretaker right now?
Yes, you are in front of the librarian, who is busy sipping it up at a cup of lapsang tea.
So, I'm a bit stunned to say this out loud, but we found you, or some version of you, at the beach.
Alive? He doesn't seem too fazed by the fact that you just said that you saw him at the beach.
Rather unfortunately so, no. You were not alive. It did appear as if you had been dead for quite some time.
Could you please go and rejoin the others there in the study? I would like to see this for myself.
Oh.
Okay. We did happen across something there, though not the tablet.
Well, that makes sense. I
Would you
believe the
happen to-
tablet was within the moors.
Would you happen to know what you might have had on you when you died?
Well, my glasses, a bit of my luggage, a few pounds, and possibly a manuscript for the next book I was writing at the time.
Are you from here or somewhere else? Kind of hinting at the more occult nature of the glasses.
I myself, this self, is from here. As for if you found another me, I couldn't say.
Do you happen to have your own pair of glasses?
He just like adjusts the glasses that are currently on his face.
Are- she chuckles at herself. I don't suppose you would know more specifically in the way of are your glasses in any way attached to our church?
The glasses themselves? No. Well,
In what our church does?
how do I put this? The glasses themselves, no, I don't believe so. But they were empowered. The lenses replaced with a different kind of glass. They are not exactly ritual worthy or useful for as tools, but they do aid me in more minor projects.
So of what I know of the glasses that I have, then these are actually more powerful than what he has.
Yes, and powerful in a different way. They're less associated with the lantern and more associated with it's closer to say that they're associated with knock, because they're closer to how one would use a key.
All right.
But a key that could possibly shift over to a different history than the one you're currently in.
Okay. Would you happen to know if Would you happen to know if there might be a special mirror?
Well, you could possibly try to find one within the hall of mirrors we have here, but I think that would be more of a personal project. Would you mind if I were to leave you all for a few minutes?
Yes.
So I may...
Go ahead. Could you point us in the direction of the others?
Yes. Just to the staircase, up one floor, and first door heading further in.
With a very warm smile, she goes, "Thank you," and nods and heads that way.
Should I leave my things by the door since they're a bit wet?
I can see to them. Do not worry about that.
Oh, right. Are you sure you're alright by yourself?
Yeah, I do believe that this is something I need to do by myself.
Oh. I'd be careful though.
I will. Thank you.
You're never alone. He's always with you.
How very comforting.
I would hope so.
And he will let you all walk in. And when he steps outside of the door and closes the door behind himself, you all feel the energy of the hush house itself seem to dampen a bit. Even those within the study. Just suddenly the more vibrant, energetic feel of this place dowers and dampens some.
Can I? Oh God, feels like a mistake.
That's what I love to hear.
Gonna do it anyway. Because if we could feel this, I'm wanting to see if this is gonna like change anything. I can I put on the glasses?
Sure.
Do it.
Yes, I'm gonna adorn them. Don't suppose any of that energy floods back?
Could you please give me a roll of determination at 2 disadvantages? So at a -20.
Oh no.
So that's actually like a +20?
That would mean that your determination, like the actual stat
Oh,
itself,
it's down 20.
Take-
Okay,
yes.
I understand. Okay. 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 No. Again?
with another 5. Just out of curiosity, what would your determination be with that negative?
60.
Okay. You feel the energy of another history flooding across your face, right in front of your eyes. It is a history that is cold and horrible, chaotic and roiling, almost akin to that bog, until you realize that it is a history where everything is that bog that you saw in the Mansus. Everything is that fungus, is that growth, where it is a history that has been lost to the crowned growth's machinations, where it has become all and made all itself. And before it understands that you are looking in upon it, you take the glasses off and manage to get them away from your eyes.
Oh, thank God. I was just about to say that. I'm not gonna throw them. I am just very swiftly gonna shove them back in my robes in my pocket. And Sister Rosalie she's shaking, her hands are shaking. She's terrified. And I would say that's probably when she enters the study.
Did we see anything on our end?
Nope. Just Sister Rosalie, who was looking through the glasses herself.
Oh. Okay.
and you are all together once again within the study with a warm fire and fresh lapsang tea. And you see Loretta and Roderick looking over an odd mass of plant matter that seems to have been roughly hewn into what looks kind of like a book.
Do they see that our hands are carved up?
Yeah, I would say that they're able to see the what almost looks more like a Celtic knot on the backs of their hands.
Oh.
Please tell me you guys got somewhere in your investigations.
She's gonna look up from the book and just slide her journal over that has all the notes from earlier.
A more oral walkthrough would be beneficial.
I might.
No.
What happened between here and the door?
Glasses.
Oh, goodness.
Let's let them walk through first, and then I will
Yes, why
tell
don't
everyone.
Why don't you take a seat? I'll get you some tea.
Sister Rosalie is gonna look at Loretta and kind of with the pleading of like, please start, so I don't have to think about whatever I am thinking about anymore.
Nell is getting tea for those that are not doing so good.
The tea is calming. It's smoky, being that it's lapsang, but it's good, high quality.
She's just being a little domestic.
Can you guys please talk about what you've gone over so far?
We just did.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm just okay. Sister Lizzie's gonna put the glasses on the table and the mirror. She's gonna slide the mirror off to one side, but leave her hand on it. This I found sitting in the sand. I didn't really dig in the same way that our other companion here did. And I believe it's just a more of an occult tool. But these, she's going to gesture with her left hand at the glasses. These I found on the body of our caretaker.
Loretta's just gonna raise an eyebrow.
Right, to clarify on that topic, it's not just the body of the caretaker, but somehow an old waterlogged duplicate corpse of the caretaker that we have in the room with us right now, which we found buried in the sand on the beach.
I didn't look, I couldn't.
The dead body, I guess he was trying to escape his reality, and unfortunately, that is the reason why things are the way they are right now.
Oh.
And Roderick will look over and just like he'll look at the book and be like, I wonder if that's what you were saying something about a loophole?
No.
Oh no, he's sorry, the name's escaping me right now. He's looking at Legacy's character.
Loretta.
Loretta, there you go.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
You were saying something about a loophole.
Right.
If what the sister's saying makes sense to that, and what if the loophole was it could take a path that someone else created?
That is fair. I mean, it has to be somebody who's strong enough to be able to open the door, but
It's open. It's open. And it was our caretaker, but from another history.
it might prove useful to us to get to know this caretaker a little bit more.
I feel like I'm.
Maybe also try to strengthen him up in a way, given that his previous form was able to open the door. Maybe this one would be able to close it.
I mean, maybe.
It's worth a shot.
Is that the way this sort of thing usually works? That the things that lock also unlock and vice versa, or?
Okay, so this is an interesting question. Would we, like, given that we're all where we are right now, is it safe to say that we know of, like, Knock, and Edge, and Grail, and Lantern, and Forge, and whatnot?
I would say that everyone who has a Night or Bright Arts of above 45 or about 50 would at least have a general understanding of the aspects as they are. Perhaps not fully in depth to where you could do your own rights with them without having some help, but you know, like, academically of the various aspects, including Knock and Edge and such.
Okay.
The main thing with Knock is that every wound, everything that it creates an opening is essentially a door, but not all doors are so easy to close. Like, you can't close a door by causing another wound, as it were. It generally depends on how the door was made.
There would probably be another aspect in this door that's opened up right now. Probably like Moth, right?
Possible.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much the rest of you know, but there are some aspects of our history of our world that relate to certain things like Knock, Grail, Edge, and the glasses are Knock. It's what opened the door. There's possibly something cancerous and dead on the other side. And that could be related to Moth. I'm assuming with my Bright Arts as high as it is, I do know almost all, like, the names of all the aspects, but
Yes.
very in-depth knowledge of Lantern and Grail myself.
Yes.
Okay. I can't quite remember at the moment what counteracts Knock and undead things like Moth. At least I think it's Moth.
The undead generally reply more to winter.
Oh, Winter. I'll correct myself. slightly. But it's terrifying, and that's why the Mansus and some of our history and world is being rewritten by the Bog and Moth, in a way. He was trying to escape, and having escaped, left the door open, and unfortunately probably perished as a result of trying to change something.
Right. Okay. Now, this is a great big library here. Stands to reason that it has received contributions from a great many authors, is that right? I mean, it's not just the one guy writing all these books. There's got to be more people who know about. And Fred pauses and sort of gestures broadly at the room around him. All of this.
Given the fact that there's a cathedral and library, very likely there are other authors.
It seems like if none of you have any idea about closing this door, a technical liaison is in order, maybe? Somebody who's better prepared than we are.
Are you talking about, Saul, you're going to have to remind me. I know Sister Rosalie would definitely know her name, the one who we saw in the Mansus.
The Baldemarian.
The Baldemarian. Are you perhaps talking about the Baldemarian?
Well, no, I suppose I'm not talking about her. I mean, she made it very clear that there's just not much she can do right now, is there? I mean, she's not.
So you're saying that we need to find a different technical liaison than our caretaker?
Well, if the caretaker could do it by himself, then it would be done by now. So, let me review. Show of hands, does anybody know how they want to close this door thing?
Does anybody know how to close the door thing?
And Roderick will just kind of squint a little bit and say, we don't even really know what the door is yet to know how to close it.
I think the problem lies is there's no... In order for us to get any more information, we need to figure out how we are able to expand our minds to it. The librarian can only do so much. We can only do so much. There is no absolute perfection unless you want to go dipping your toes into waters that some of us just aren't equipped to dip our toes into, not yet at least. I can only have so much confidence if a plan is going to work. How much do you know about the nowhere, the unknown?
Not a goddamn thing.
Okay. All right. Well, at least we are honest with one another.
I don't know anything either.
So I think that what we need to do, and she's gonna look at the book that she's been kind of studying, is we're gonna have to give you two a bit of a rundown on what all of this is.
All right.
I'll admit that I'm probably a bit biased in my teachings, but I can definitely help educate in most areas. Most, if not all.
As can I. I've had very specialized teaching in the world of the unknown.
Me as well, through our church that's, well, in this building, the Unconquered Sun. And, well, that means my unknown stuff is a bit more focused on brighter things above us that are a little bit lighter in physical attributes.
I know plenty well about the latter side of things, but all things considered, it seems that we're dealing with not such a bright.
Yeah.
That's where my expertise steps in. I'm more knowledgeable about the darker hours of the day.
So it appears between both of us, we should hopefully be able to cover some things.
And I can definitely help with the more obscure, darker things.
Generally a quick study. I try to be anyway.
And when this Mr. Librarian gets back, it might be best if one or two of us have a sit down with him and see what he might be able to part with us. If he has any, maybe see if he has any recollection of how a clone copy of his ended up washed up on a beach.
I can actually answer that. He doesn't. I tried pressing into it a little bit, and he wasn't really able to answer as much as I was hoping. Especially when I was trying to press about the glasses and what goes on with them.
Lady, or Sister Rosalie, do not take offense to this. Are you sure it's he doesn't know or he doesn't want to tell you?
Don't suppose there's like a role I could do to like look back, hindsight wise, and like
Differentiate.
yeah.
Because you're more looking back on something that was kind of done quickly, and he was already pretty flustered from hearing about the fact that there was a corpse on the beach
That looked like him.
that looked like him. Go ahead and give me a roll of, we'll call it intelligence, but it'll be at a -20.
Okay, so I'm looking for something under 50. Let's see. No, I'm not going to say anything. If I say something, it's going to fuck it up.
The immortal words of RuPaul.
Okay. Here's where I'm going to be selfish yet again. Who is someone who looks back on things?
The Elegiast focuses on not letting anything be forgotten.
Yeah. Let's do that. It's a bit of a dangerous selection, but I'm going to do that. So I'm going to use one of the D6 there.
Alrighty.
Yeah, no, that actually made it worse.
Well, sometimes you'll have that.
Yeah. It's a gamble. It's a gamble.
It is. That's what rolling dice is. Everything is a gamble, but you're gambling the story.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I should also say this is probably karmic balance because I did roll 2 5s earlier.
That's correct.
Universe had to reset itself.
It did. So, looking back, the conversation was done kind of quickly. It was very stressful because you had just seen a corpse of someone who you had been talking to, and then we talked to the same individual again. And then you decided to put on the glasses, and your mind is still a bit of a haze from the stress of having looked into a history that had fallen all to shit, as it were.
Times.
So you can't really be sure.
All I'm saying is, Sister Rosalie, is we are still strangers in this man's, for lack of a better term, home. I wouldn't go and trust a bunch of strangers with all of my best guarded secrets. Not after only knowing them for 2 days.
He's expecting us to risk our lives for him and fighting some kind of horrible interdimensional blight. I think a degree of honesty is in order under the circumstances.
I think you're underestimating. I don't think he's had a conversation where he expects anything of the sort from us. We have offered our help willingly. There's a difference. But, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he doesn't remember. Maybe he does. But until we talk to him and sit him down, and maybe try to get to the bottom of that, nobody's gonna know.
I do hope he's alright, and seeing yourself like that is going to be a bit of a shock.
I'm sure that it is. But maybe we don't make accusations, and maybe we talk with him about it before we go jump into conclusions.
Yes.
We were asked to be kind.
Yes, we were.
We were.
What day is it? Or not what day. What time of day is it?
It's getting a little further into the evening. It's getting to where it's about 5 p.m., 5:30.
And sorry, which one of us is very good at teaching night arts?
That'd be Loretta and Roderick are both adept at night arts.
Okay. And that leaves Helena and I forget the other name? Frederick?
Frederick.
And that leaves Helena and Frederick, who aren't very skilled at occult.
We're the know-nothings.
Okay. Sister Rosalie is going to look at Roderick and Loretta. I know you would like to talk, but perhaps one of you can help me enlighten these two in the ways of our knowledge of the unknown.
Yeah. Roderick, would you mind taking this lesson? As much as I'm adept at teaching. The librarian brought something up to me, and when he comes back, I think I might use that as a way to kind of poke the bear.
Sure, I can do that.
If you all need any resource material, books, journals, she'll run to her room, and you just see her very kind of limp-armed, pulling out like a giant tote of just stuff. Books, journals, published works, like research cases, it just tons and tons and tons of material, and she'll just kind of drag it to Frederick and Helena's feet and drop it.
Oh.
There you go. That is
my.
part of my research. Part of it.
And exactly how much of this relates to the matter at hand?
A lot more than you would think. And she smiles for a brief second and then goes deadpan and looks towards the door. I will see if I can pull our friend in for a nice little conversation, if the 4 of you don't mind. I think I'm going to excuse myself. Good luck with that. Don't break it or damage or, just handled with care.
Of course.
And she's like gripping onto the tub of her books, and her knuckles are going just like a little white. But eventually she'll just let go and stretch out her fingers and bow to the four of you. I will be back in just a little bit. If you don't get through everything by the time I'm back, more than happy to join in to help teach the rest.
All right.
Frederick is not beneath tucking into a book. Should I make some kind of a roll here to see if I can learn anything?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to shift our focus to Loretta, but I would like Roderick to please make me a roll of Night Arts, Sister Rosalie to please make me a roll of Bright Arts, and then both Helena and Frederick to please make me a roll of Intelligence, but at plus 10 because you're getting assistance from them.
Cool.
75 with the bright arts of 85.
Okay.
21 with a night arts of 75.
Alrighty.
That is a 39, and I have a night arts of 15.
Oh my god.
This was an intelligence roll.
Intelligence.
Oh, an intelligence roll. Okay. In that case, I have an intelligence of 30, I believe.
With the plus 10,
Plus 10.
because you're being assistance, that would be a success.
Just barely. Holy shit. Okay. I'm learning.
I'm not doing so hot. Is there anything left to borrow? I wasn't wanting to use any of the dice, but
There are a good number of dice available to you. There is, of course, anything that you could see before you on the dice, but there is also that thumping in your chest. But now it's in your mind, almost like it's helping you learn through mimetic practices to associate little movements or little beats with various lessons. And if you would like, the Thunderskin die is available to you.
okay. That's
Which would be a D4.
okay. Where do I? Okay. That's good. That's better.
So a 21 for your intelligence.
Cool. My intelligence, I think, is 50.
All right. We will get back to the results of that momentarily. Loretta.
Yep.
You, as you're walking closer to the door, you can feel the energy of this place, and all of you can actually feel this. The energy of the place brightens back up as you see the librarian walk through the large double doors to the hush house and close them behind him. He does not look good. He looks pale and a little bit weaker with his steps. He's still able to walk straight, but as he turns and walks towards you, there is a much more careful gait to him.
Can I make you a cup of tea?
That would be lovely, actually.
All right. You go get settled in. I'll be right there.
Okay. And he will move to settle in in a sitting area, not at where the study is, but closer to the front doors. The sitting area is actually a few flights above, with large windows and a telescope that looks like it's pointing towards the stars that are beginning to show as night begins to fall deeper.
Mm-hmm. And she's gonna fix him a cup of like a mint tea. And if she's able to find any like lavender petals, she'll steep those in as well.
As you are looking through the pantry, you notice that there's all manner of various herbs and spices and such that are available. Some that are very exotic to what might be normal on the British palate.
Mm.
Like,
What's this? Salt?
Salt, yeah. But you also see that there are jars of what looks to be things more associated with the occult, including what looks to be a jar of what look to be insects that you notice are called witchworms. They are an insect that likes to infest into books, sort of almost feeding off of the knowledge within them.
Oh, you little shits. I mean, closing the door on the witchworms. Not in front of my library collection. You're gonna get out. Usually, she would poke around for a little bit more, but she needs to get some information out of this guy. So she's just gonna focus on making him just a nice cup, like an actual like pot of tea, with a couple of teacups and everything. This is probably the most domestic Loretta's been in a couple years. So she's just gonna get like all of like the a little bit of milk and sugar, a couple teacups and a teapot once it's warmed up to the perfect temperature, and she'll bring it up to you said he's where?
He is in what almost looks like a small observatory that has a large telescope pointing up towards the stars, and out of a large window.
She'll bring it to the observatory.
And there he sits, looking up at the sky through the large window, looking a little bit shaky, almost as if he is almost catching a chill.
Oh.
No. Mind if I come in? I've got tea.
Please.
And she'll take the little tray, and if there's like a table beside him, she'll set it down. Didn't want to poke too far into your pantry, so I just kind of grabbed what herbs I could. I think this is mint and a little bit of a lavender. You look like you could use it. And she'll pour him a cup.
He smiles. Thank you. It's been a bit of time since I've shared tea with anyone, just one-on-one. Usually I am just bringing tea to my guests or imbibing it myself as I catalog.
Well, sometimes tea with someone helps you relax your nerves a little bit. That's what my mama always said. We would back when I was in New Orleans, we used to get on the chairs together every night when I was really small, and she'd pour me a cup of tea, and she would bring out a book and would just teach me how to read, teach me how to write. Always said that company at night time helps you sleep better.
True enough.
Hello.
So I suppose the company that we were able to keep in the night is quite different.
Maybe. mind if I take a seat?
Please.
She'll sit and bring the tray around and kind of like fix herself up a cup.
He loads his up with the cream as well as sugar and even a bit of honey as well.
You like your stuff sweet, don't you?
It's a bit of a vice of mine.
We all have our vices. Things that we feed into. Things that we yearn for. And she'll take us up. Listen, I won't lie when I say that I'm probably the worst person that could have gone up, but are you okay?
No.
Okay.
I just went to the beach and dug up my own corpse.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I imagine that the others told you, yes.
Listen, I don't know how traumatic that is. I have not had to dig myself out of a hole. Not yet. Not in the physical sense, and hopefully not in the metaphorical sense anytime soon. But if you need someone to like speak to about that, I might know a little bit more than the other four of what it means to have to look at yourself directly in the face and come to terms with things might not quite being how they used to be.
I suppose that would be a good idea. I ran the last time I had to face such severe changes. It's why I'm now here. I wanted the world to forget me.
And why is that?
Pain, cowardice. I went through a betrayal from someone that I would have given the world for. And then, after I was trying to pick up the pieces of my life, the Suppression Bureau came in and made several years equivalent to hell. So I just wanted to go away. And he rubs at his hand, which is still shaking and looks almost like there's ice at the end of his fingertips as he just sort of brushes it off. Apparently, another one from another history wanted to forget everything and just get rid of it all.
She's going to take the tips of his fingers in her hand and just get a feel for how cold they are.
They are frigid. It is like he stuck his hand and kept it there in an icebox for hours.
Oftentimes, pain and suffering. That's what brings us closer to. Well, some say it's God. Some say it's something bigger than God. I can't tell you how to keep yourself from feeling that pain. Whatever's out there knows more than I do that sometimes hiding the pain is necessary, but my people, the people that I am with, use that pain to ignite something even bigger. That suffering that you feel when it crawls deep in the back of your throat and it reaches the pit of your stomach. That fear. We turn that fear into something else. Something powerful. Something that burns deep within you. We don't let it get frigid. Because the moment that light in you burns out, what's left? Cold, steely air that stares you dead in the night. Fear and pain are parts of life that everybody has to live with. And I know that sometimes it feels like running away from it is easier than facing it head on, but you need to be able to face your fears head on. And that pain. And you take that pain and you turn it into preservation. You don't let it control you, you control it. I'm young, but I've gone through a lot of pain and fear in my life. And I know what it's like to feel like running is your only option. But there's a group of people here that seem to actually genuinely give a shit. Myself included. We want to be able to help you, and we want to be able to help close whatever it is that is sinking its way, finding that loophole. And it seems that you are that loophole. If you'd allow us to help you, you could help us. My friends, maybe not my friends. I've only known these people for a couple days, but we need every ounce of help that we can get. And us helping put this mass back in its place might help you overcome that fear that seems to be holding you down and drowning you.
Perhaps that would be helpful. Thank you, ma'am.
It's Loretta. You can skip the formalities.
Then I suppose it's only fair that you can do the same. My name's Christopher.
And she'll reach out a hand for him.
And he will take it, and his fingers are warming gradually, but they're not as frigid as they were.
There we go. I'll go with that fear. The cold touch goes away. A little bit more comfort in it, isn't it?
Well, yes, but I also had to have that cold so that way I could speak to the corpse.
That's fair, too.
It was a very interesting conversation speaking to myself.
Yeah. You know,
But
I know
he's,
some people who do that without the outer body experience. Christopher. I'll keep calling you librarian until you tell me not to.
I would appreciate if you would in front of the others. My name, when I came here, I left it behind, but I would like to hear it from you when we're alone, if that's okay.
Those are some dangerous words, Christopher. But sure.
We're dangerous people.
And we are dangerous people. I think you might know a little bit more about me than I do about you, which is both concerning and yet intriguing. But seeing is believing, and I think my compatriots are downstairs getting that exact lesson right now. So if you wouldn't mind coming down, just answering a couple of questions of ours, once you're finished with your tea, of course.
Of course. Thank you. I'll be along shortly.
I do have one more question.
Of course.
You never answered me. What are you hungry for?
Peace. There's so much going on that sends ripples out to here. I would very much just like to have my own peace. So that way I can perhaps find a new focus.
I think everybody could use a little bit of peace. She'll gently rest a hand on his shoulder and give it a squeeze. And go back downstairs.
Loretta, when you walk into the room where the others are, I imagine that a number of your books are all out and about and being read through. Miss McLeod, you actually have likely begun reading through the book you were given because it was you were told it was a primer to some of the more occult things, traveling at night.
That is true. I was given a book.
And what have the rest of you been up to? Anything specific? Any types of books that you might have been focusing on, like the Lantern for Sister Rosalie?
Knock materials, if they exist in the collection.
Extensively. Most of the easier ones being, actually, the volumes for traveling at night.
Let's see.
Yeah, I would have just been setting out the books that I would think would be the easiest to teach from, rather than ones that might require an understanding going into it. I'd be looking for ones that kind of provide an understanding.
Lantern 101.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. Going off my Bible. I've given Helena my Bible. And I also have an extra from the rector, so.
Fair enough. So with the Bibles of the Church of the Unconquered Sun, interestingly, all 3 volumes, including the very rare 3rd volume of Traveling at Night, and free access to every volume of The Locksmith's Secret, including volumes that were apparently not ever actually written, at least according to the Suppression Bureau. You all have been able to get a really good study session going and helping to get both Miss McLeod and Mr. Perler a bit more of their toes dipped into the occult. And I would like for Miss McLeod and Mr. Perler to please note down an extra 10, actually no, an extra 15 in both night arts and bright arts.
Oh. I still am not good at editing this thing.
All right, that jumps my night arts to 30 and my bright arts to 15.
That makes my bright arts 35 and my night arts 15. Oh, there we go.
Miss McLeod,
Yes.
as you are reading through these books, you can hear that drum in your head and in your heart. And the beat has been picking up a little bit, but it's not as anxious as it was before. Now it's warm and cheerful. Almost less of a call and more of almost like a ditty. It's sweet and calming, almost saccharine, but sometimes that's fine.
Okay. Probably humming along as I read, but I would have been trying to also help our other newbie as well. You know, we're learning together. If there's anything I got that he didn't, etc.
Of course.
Sure, okay. It's traveling at night texts as well, so it's sort of commentary on the value and meaning of doors in the Mansus, which probably contextualizes my stance on, doors, or I don't know how we're defining this, a door between histories or something.
Exactly. It also gives you a little more information as to what you saw the night prior and helps to sort of parse out what exactly everything meant when the others were speaking about the Mansus and about the wood, because this is very... Whereas everything else that you were reading outside of the Traveling at Night was very flowery and very esoteric, this is much more cut and dry, straightforward, broken down to its bare bones for common people to read, as opposed to people who are already adroit in this.
So, you weren't aware of any of this beforehand, Miss McLeod, or?
Not this in depth. I mean, my grandmother runs an occult shop, but I suppose only barely dipped my toes into things not quite this.
Do you think she'd know how to close this door thing?
It wouldn't hurt to ask. She's all the way in Salem, though.
That probably won't be a response we can get soon enough.
I've already written to her of where I am, but I can't say for sure how long it will take for a response.
Fred sets down one of the copies of Traveling at Night on his lap and closes it. And he thinks for a second. Evening is beginning to fall, right?
Yeah, by now it's getting to maybe about 7 p.m.
Okay.
Are you alright?
The author here, the Baldemarian, she doesn't really make it out like door work is very easy.
I can't imagine it is.
I fear, eventually, that we will have to reckon with our limited means, perhaps accept a less than ideal outcome. You know. Unless we can... No. Can I roll against Dread?
Yes, you absolutely may.
Dread time. That's determination, is that right?
It is determination, yes, but because you have a level of dread, you increase your determination by 10.
I don't believe I do have a level of dread.
Oh, you don't?
He got rid of his. I have one though.
That's correct. I would say that it is also a time for Miss McLeod to work to go against her current dread. So if you would like to also go ahead and give me a roll of determination with a plus 10, because the dread is grounding you to earth a bit.
Right.
All right, 21 out of 40. So Fred is holding on by the tips of his fingers, but he's holding on.
Fantastic. And Miss McLeod?
Ooh, 9.
The dread you had felt before, that sort of fear that had begun to sort of stick in the back of your head, you feel it go away. It's fading away, just almost like it's being drowned out by that beat in your head, to the point that you find yourself smiling without truly understanding why. And even as you're speaking, your fingers begin to tap against the desk in a way that is matching the beat that is in your head. And I believe that Roderick and Loretta both also had dread from the rite they committed last session.
Yes.
Yeah.
As you are hearing the tapping, I would like a determination roll from both of you with a plus 10.
Asking to roll dread is like reminding the teacher that we have homework.
God.
God damn it, I'm going to incriminate myself here. I don't have any.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Because you weren't facing against anything that was new or wild or wrong to you.
That's kind of the
boy.
beauty of having such high Brea arts.
It's true.
This game loves, or this dice roller loves giving me 90s.
Oh dear, I don't think you... I think that's probably you get a dread then, Arinoth.
I think I'm gonna
Are you able to use a card?
Yeah, could I use a card for this?
You are absolutely able to use one of the dice from the tower.
Sweet.
I would suggest that the
Ooh.
Elegiast and probably the Madrigad are both
I
dread-coded.
Think I will too.
Yeah, I think I'll
Probably a good
use
idea.
I'll use one of the D6 from the Elegiast.
Okay.
I also will use a D6 from the Elegias.
Alrighty. Just wiping the tarot clean.
Gotta squeak it. Squeak it.
Uh,
Clean it.
That brings me down. Yeah, that passes. That brings me down to a 44. Hey, so I critically pass.
Hey.
I'll take it. That brings me from an 88 to a 48, which means I pass.
Fantastic. This beat, this rhythm that Miss McLeod puts out, it's cheerful and kind to the point where that the remembrance that there are things that I could be watching from elsewhere, outside of the histories even, begins to fade and get drowned out to the point where it's silent in your mind. I would like a roll of bright arts from both of you, please.
From who?
Loretta and Roderick,
Okay.
as their dread fades away.
Ooh,
Okay.
it's gonna be risky. Actually, would I have benefited from the bright arts aspect of the lesson that the others got?
Depends. How much bright arts did you have before?
20.
I'll say it would have brought it up by 10.
I'll take it.
And I would say that it's also fair for Sister Rosalie to have gotten 10 night arts if she had less than, say, 30.
Hey!
Hey!
Pass.
Hey! There we go.
Just from the lessons that Roderick had just gotten, this beat and the feeling of it in you seems familiar. Loretta, having been adroit in all manner of occult practices, knows this beat and can even feel her heart begin to take on the same beat as the dread fades away. This is work of the Thunderskin. This is a intense, well, not intense, but almost natural use of the principle of the heart, of the beat that shall keep going, that gives life.
Loretta's just gonna take a seat with the others.
And Roderick will sit down as well and say, I wonder if that's a good omen or a bad one.
Sorry, what?
And I'll just explain what he thinks the beat means or suggests.
Oh, I'm just... Huh. I didn't even realize. I thought you couldn't hear it.
Contrary. It seems that my heart is matching the beat.
Yes, like that. I've been feeling that for quite some time. Can't seem to stop tapping it out. It almost makes me want to dance, but that's most things do. Not the appropriate setting or time, though.
For those who have a bright arts above 50, this sounds very accurate, as the principle of the heart is a principle of preservation, of continuation. It's an aspect of life and ceaseless motion. And dance is one of the ways that one gives praise and asks favor from one of those stronger embodiments of the heart known as the Thunder Skin.
Actually, Helena,
Yes.
dance.
What? Right now?
Right now.
You should. Yes.
Dance. She's gonna try to find records in a record player.
I mean,
There is a record player, and there are a few records that aren't marked.
Okay, I'm pulling out one of them unmarked records, and we're gonna see what happened.
dear librarian did say that there is a space for such things.
No. We're gonna do right here. It is our friend, the librarian, might appreciate if we just take a moment and relax and dance.
Alright, if we could, we might need to clear some space.
Yes. She'll put the record on, and then move to clean up all of her books. And Loretta, you can see that Loretta's very peculiar. Or not peculiar, but she's very picky in like the placement.
Particular.
Yeah, in the placement of her books, and everything has its own like space.
The music is being turned on. The record player and the record begins. The music is not any that you all have heard before. There's no familiar piece here, but it is lively. It's warm, and Helena? You can feel the way that the beat works in tandem with the music. Almost like the beat in your head and your heart is one that is meant to complement the music, but it's not present in the music itself. It's almost perfect to dance to, you think.
Well, she will take her shoes off. Scandalous. Because they're not exactly conducive to the type of dancing that she knows how to do. And once there's sufficient space, might even let her hair down and give it a whirl.
Okay. Please give me a roll. I will let you decide between just being a roll of dexterity or if you'd like to make it a roll of stagecraft.
Let's... They're the same number. But let's say stagecraft.
Okay. Please go ahead and make that roll for me if you would be so kind. With a +10.
Oh, cool. That's all right. 66.
Would that be a success with the +10 stagecraft?
Oh, well, yeah, my stagecraft is 80.
So that is a critical success, also known as an astounding success.
Oh.
The dance is one you've never done before. It's not something that you've practiced. It's just all right off the cuff, but the movements are natural to you. It involves your ballet, but there's also more movement of the upper body and the arms and hands that are all very flowing, very purposeful.
So I've delved into lyrical.
And they seem to almost be right. The music makes you think on what's happened the past few days, on being pulled out of the water and saved, on being invited into this house. It makes you think back on spending time with your grandmother and gardening.
Mm-hmm.
The music piece comes to a slower, more melancholy, and then angry piece. And your mind goes to him. And while there is perhaps initially a bit of fear, you remember the words of the Baldemarian. You are greater. You are more. And your body begins to move with the anger. And your face, even without you meaning to, begins to grimace in rage as you think on him. As you think of standing up to him.
That's a frightening thought.
Of making him pay. How would Miss McLeod make him pay?
Oh, that's not ever a thought she's ever had in her mind before, because she's absolutely terrified of him. Whew. Maybe like publicly throwing his ring back in his face. If she were ever brave enough to do that. Because he's very much about public appearances and what will the Joneses think. And perfection. Yeah, probably something public.
You think on that, on making it a public affair, making it a spectacle.
Exposing him, everything he's done to her.
Yes. On making sure that not only do you know, not only does he know, but that everyone knows. Not just believes or hears your words, but knows what has been wrought by this man. You think hard about what happens after you leave him, about the way that others beat him down for what he did, the way that others treat him as he deserves because of what he's done. And you can feel almost a smugness, a somewhat caustic grin on your face as your movements begin to pick up again as you're smiling. And you can leave the idea of him, the thought of him, behind. And as the music comes to an end, you stand there in a flourish and before everyone else, having performed something so gorgeous, a true spectacle, all performed off the cuff, grander than greater plays, than greater ballets. And it all came from your heart and your experience and your soul. And you can feel the retribution sort of wave out your thoughts. And your determination to make the words of the Baldemarian true steals within you. Please increase your determination by 5.
Whoa. Now it's 25, y'all.
And everyone else in the room, including the librarian, have witnessed this dance that is as close to perfection for what the music was playing as they could possibly imagine it to be.
I think I feel a bit faint.
I think it's time for one of us to get you a cup of tea.
There's always too damn much happening in this house.
What?
Only too true.
Did I? Oh,
Loretta will stand from her seat and just guide Helena to it.
oh, thank you. Sorry, was it too much?
No.
know what came over me. But it felt interesting.
You opened your mind to the unknown. That's what happened.
Thank you.
She's gonna bring Helena a glass of water.
Oh, thank you. She'll dutifully sip. Maybe one hand just kind of absently playing with her hair because it's down. It's not usually down. It's usually in a braid or up.
And with that, we are going to bid you all adieu.